I'm very excited today. No, honestly, I'm very excited today. I am sitting in this squalid room with a horrible background behind me for you. But why I'm excited is because of the background. I've got some baffles back there, finding some diffusers and some baffles over here. I've got some bass traps in the corner. Things are starting to come together. These are not set up yet, but I got them. They arrived at the door. I unpacked them and I put them in this small room that I'm turning into a temporary recording studio. Got a pair of monitors right here. You can't see those. And I've got an interface now, and I got a little rack with some gear in it, and I got a microphone I really like. I'm going to start recording my music. What's this got to do with you? I'm just telling you all the things that I'm doing. The thing is, you don't understand, before today, all the way up until today, the path was never clear to me. I haven't produced music of my own in a very long time. And the reason for that was of something I believe in. A lot of people think the best way to approach this is to take baby steps, to put one foot in front of the other and move down the path, make mistakes, be a beginner, don't know what you're doing, but you get better as you go, and just keep at it. And the more you work at it, the better you get. Totally get that. I do that all the time with certain things and at certain stages of a project or something in my life. Totally agree with that. But I believe that when you get to a point where you've mastered some degree of what you're trying to do, then it's about timing. It's about knowing when to do the thing that you're supposed to do. And a lot of that is super opaque. Like, a lot of us don't even see the path, right? There's all these things in the way. Maybe we have financial problems, right? We can't afford the gear at the time. Maybe it's we haven't written the songs, or we don't know who we actually sound like. Maybe everything seems daunting because you're feeling not that confident because maybe one person didn't like your song, or you had a bad experience on an open stage. There's a million things I could think of that could cause you not to want to move forward and to pause, you know? And so that idea of putting one foot in front of the other, I think, works great for a beginner, right? When you're starting out and you're trying to develop, you're trying to become a better singer, you're trying to become a better producer, you're trying to write better music. Write, produce, sacrifice a period of your life and just go for it. I certainly did. But then there comes a point where it's time to have the big event, the thing you've been preparing for your whole life. Let's call it a showcase in life or something, right? You want that showcase to go perfectly. You want everything to fall into place when you dedicate that amount of time to what you're trying to do. Think of an Olympic athlete, right? They train their whole life for maybe 2 or 3, depending on what sport they're in, like over their career. They might go to a few Olympics, you know, before they kind of age out of it. And they prepare for that day. All that time is in preparation for that day. Everything has to come together for them. They've got to be on their game. They've got to be psychologically, physically in their top form. And it's the same with your music when you're going to do something real with it. When you're going to put it out into the world, you're going to create something. You're going to take those songs that you poured over for months or years, and you're finally going to commit. You're going to make them your works of art, and you're going to send them off. You know, this is the moment. When your audience hears the song, they're going to take the song for what it is. So you've got to get it the way you want it the first time. There's a saying I heard, I think Mark Cuban said it. He's an investor. And his whole style is that if he manages to get a lump of money together, he holds on to it. It's all about timing, right? He waits until an opportunity comes along. He doesn't say, okay, I've got the money. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I'm losing interest or something. I've got to go out and invest it or buy something or do something to generate, you know, he doesn't think that way. He thinks about the timing of something. You think about in nature, right? There's animals that cruise around in the forest. They're always on the move, looking for something, and hopefully they'll find what they're looking for, right? To eat and sustenance and all of that. And there are other animals that sit and they wait and they wait and they wait very patiently. I think the truth for musicians is somewhere in between that. I think at the beginning, you've got to push yourself and really go for it to get good at what you do. And then when it comes time to really fly the nest, when you're already ready, you're perched on the edge of the nest, you've got to wait till the wind's right, you know, because you don't want to crash. Another example is that we're all born single, right? We come out of the womb and we're born single. And most of us in life at some point want to go out with somebody, right? Or somebodies. I'm not going to judge. But we want to basically, be with other people, right? In whatever way that you want to be with them, whether it's love or attraction or whatever it is. The thing is, when you're, let's just generalize here, when you're a teenager, you have this problem. You want to go out with somebody. And there's this kind of, gap between reality, because you're not going out with somebody, and what you want. So that problem is this sort of like big, blurry picture problem. You don't know what to do. And you're, when you're new at it and you're sort of going through it and maybe, you've tried and you're not having success at the beginning. That happens to everybody, I'm sure, at some point. And then ultimately what happens is you meet somebody, you see somebody, you get introduced to somebody who really feels like, oh, they're the one I want to go out with. They're the one I want to be with, whatever that is. And then the game changes. That whole problem hasn't gone away because you're not going out with them yet, but you see the path. You see who they are. And it's the same with your music. It's important, I believe, to wait until you can see the path. Now, how do you get that path in music? How do you find that path? It's going to be different for everybody because our challenges are different. But here are some of the things that I think are common between in everyone's situation. I believe that when things are blurry, when we don't know what the next step is to go forward, we need to do things like try things. We just need to try without committing. So you just want to try. And that means experimenting with things. Buy a new guitar to create a new sound. Learn how to play piano. You don't have to be good at it. Just learn like as good as, Paul McCartney and John Lennon. They weren't that great. And there's great interviews of them talking about that. About they didn't even know any theory. They just sort of, picked it up and used it for their songs. Experiment with different ways of writing. Get a co-writer. Go play live if you haven't played live. Stop playing live if you have been playing live. Try a lot of different changes to see if that stirs the pot and sort of what comes up, what rises to the surface that you didn't expect. Number two, when we know what we want, we've figured that part out, but we just don't have the sort of excitement when we wake up in the morning and we're feeling like, I know what I want to do, but I'm going to put it off because there's something about it. You've got other things, distractions. Why is that? Why is it no longer that important to you? Do something to excite you. Buy a new piece of gear. Do something that make that phone call. Call somebody that could help you, that you don't even think you could reach. Maybe stretch your finances a little bit. Now, I'm not advocating going into debt or anything. I'm just being like, maybe buy that guitar that you're like, that was a little too much, or that microphone or something, because it's the one you really want. And let that inspire you. Take that, the lack of money, let that inspire you because you got to make it back. And let the piece of gear inspire you that you're going to use to create this beautiful thing that you're about to do. And number three, always be yourself as you put what you're doing together. Because if you do what you want to do, you're going to always feel like it's true, like it's real, like it's authentic. And that is going to drive you, I think, more than anything than trying to be something or trying to do something in a certain way, trying to please an audience, Now, there's a caveat here, of course. I've managed to get songs on radio and won awards for things that I've done. That wasn't just by like, I'm just going to do what I want. There's also goalposts out there. There's things that you look at and say, well, I want to do this, but how can I do this in a way that's still going to be appealing, Let's go back to John Lennon and Paul McCartney. This is a perfect example. They went and experimented a lot in the studio in the later 60s, but they were able to sort of, shape everything into popular music. That was really important to them, right? They wanted to keep making music. So they just didn't go off into, Never Never Land. Okay, maybe with Revolution Number 9 or something. But everything else was always shaped. It was always shaped in a way. It was still innovative, but it was always shaped in a way that was accessible to listeners. Not only accessible, but catchy and all that good stuff. So always think about being authentic. Stay within the goalposts of what you do. And by doing the thing that is you, you're going to feel so empowered by that. So to conclude all of that to say, is that if you're feeling a little bit lost right now and you're not sure what the next step is, you don't see the path, don't stress about it. There's nothing wrong with waiting. There's nothing wrong with doing things to try to find that, and be very, very patient and wait until it reveals itself. Wait until it comes out. You're going to kind of tickle it. You're going to cajole it. You're going to do all these things to try to make it manifest itself. But if it's not there in the moment, just keep doing the things that you're doing and keep trying to shape that and experiment with things, and it will come. As long as in this life you have your day at the different stages that you're at where you know that you are on the path, you can see the destination, and you are excited, and you know this is your destiny, at least for the next few months, maybe, or years, or whatever you have planned with your music. I hope you enjoyed this. Leave me a comment below. Tell me your story. I really want to know, where you're at in your journey. Do you agree with what I was saying about a path? Do you think that, you should just keep working at it and dust yourself off and do the old, one foot in front of the other constantly? Or do you believe in this idea of waiting for the path? So leave me a comment below. I read every single one. I respond to them all, and I'll see you on the next one.